Did the American people on November 5th vote for 1,660 Afghans who are being resettled here, have gone through the government process, people who helped us during the war in Afghanistan, which is translators, risking their lives, people who are on target lists for the Taliban, they had their flights canceled.
The answer is yes, they did vote for it.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
If you sat there.
Yes, they did.
No, they
Sorry,
didn't.
Trump did not hide any of this from anyone.
That's not true.
And that's the difference.
You guys sat here and you argued that the Afghanistan withdrawal was one of the worst atrocities in foreign policy, that we left people behind, not only American service members and Americans who are still living, the American service members who passed away tragically and the ones who are still living, but the people that helped us for years during that war. And now you say, oh, it's fine that their flights are just canceled?
No, I didn't say it's fine. I'm saying that Americans voted for it. That's the difference. I don't have to say it's fine. I'm just telling you the reality.
Over 1,500 Afghans who had already been approved for resettlement in the U.S. saw their flights suddenly canceled after Donald Trump suspended refugee programs. According to a U.S. official and a leading refugee advocate who spoke with Reuters, this group apparently includes unaccompanied minors waiting to finally be reunited with their families in the U.S., as well as individuals who risked their lives to support U.S. military efforts and now face perhaps deadly retaliation from the Taliban. And Trump has a history of exploiting war and human suffering for political and financial gain, using the plight of vulnerable populations to fuel his anti-immigrant platform and impress his base.
About 2,000 was the number that we expected to travel over 3 months, what we thought the pause was going to be, but it's indefinite. So people are being pulled off flights now, flights are being canceled, but the truth is there are more than 10,000 Afghans who are fully vetted, security vetted, medically cleared, and ready to go, and now they don't know what's coming next.
But the Trump White House argues that the U.S. lacks the ability to absorb large numbers of migrants, including refugees, without compromising resources, safety, and security for Americans. What's your response to that?
A couple things, right? So special immigrant visas are not impacted by this. That's really important for Afghans to hear and our advocates to hear. The idea that the country can't absorb these folks is like, I just don't think it's real. And what is really important to note is that U.S. RAP is a legal immigration program. And the vetting that people go through the United States Refugee Admissions Program is more strict than police officers are vetted or our military or any number of folks. Like, it is the gold standard in vetting. If you're coming here as a refugee, we know you're safe.
Trump's attempts to claim he's anti-war or anti-imperialist are a joke, but his posturing isn't new. Unlike previous administrations that cloaked imperial ambitions in softer, more morally gray packaging, Trump's made it absolutely clear America's interventions are less about ideals and more about cold hard cash. Whether it's cozying up to autocrats or starting trade wars that prioritize economic gain over human rights, Trump has shown that U.S. foreign policy is driven by profit and power, not any sort of moral high ground. His foreign policy might be transparently self-serving, but it still reflects the same imperial mindset that has shaped American intervention for decades.
We wanted to fight a war in Afghanistan and win it. I could win that war in a week. I just don't want to kill 10 million people. Does that make sense to you? I don't want to kill 10 million people. I have plans on Afghanistan that if I wanted to win that war, Afghanistan would be wiped off the face of the earth. It would be gone. It would be over literally in 10 days.
End the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I do.
How would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well. I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. I will get the war ended. I'll stop all of those lives from being wasted and lost. And there'll be no more bombing of Ukraine. There'll be no more bombing of Russia. And everybody will be happy. It can be negotiated, I think, within 24 hours. It really has to be done from the office of the president. And you have to get them both in a room. And there are things you can say to each one of them, which I won't reveal now, which will guarantee that this war will end immediately.
On that to get it solved, I can do it in 24 hours. I know both players, and I can do that in 24 hours. But you can only do it from the office of the president. You need that. You need that seat. You need what's tailed in that seat. And I would have that done in 24 hours. It wouldn't even be tough. I know what to say to each of them, and there's no way they would reject it.
Confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza? and concluded the 3 phases of this deal.
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but
Apologize.
I'm not confident, but I think they're very weakened on the other side.
Do you support the 2-state
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Do you plan to help rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, the best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
The left needs to recognize that the status quo isn't enough and demand a genuine end to these imperialist policies. It means building a movement that not only resists Trump's reckless agenda, but also challenges the structures of power that continue to drive US foreign policy towards domination and profit. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?